Hello, everyone, and welcome to the seventh episode of Writers of History. Last game, we had just finished the first rewriting of history, and our characters are now back in the present. Real quick, because I cut it out of the last video, the verse that was rewritten. We decided that the moment of light that fitted, that was like the most iconic moment in our previous story, was the moment when Nicholas Flamel had a moment of hesitation on whether or not to abandon his soon-to-be apprentice Isabelle Tars to gain a few minutes as they were being pursued by enemies, and instead the players found a very ingenious situation to get everyone out of that situation alive and not leaving anyone behind. And so this translated into a new verse of light to replace the verse of darkness, Caput Corvi, a verse of light which is used to save people that are left behind by teleporting them to the caster. If they are so willing. And Theo, you made a very interesting sentence to go with that verse.
The name of the verse is Bind, and to cast it, the sentence is, though your bravery is beyond measure, your time is not yet here. Let me bind you to my side. I will keep you safe, my friend.
And that story had ended as the characters had climactically found a way to hide the skull, given gold to the poor, and then ran off on the rooftops, like Nicholas Flamel running from rooftop to rooftop to get to a stone carver in order to leave behind a clue as to where the skull was hidden. And now we're back in the present, and you have just heard Galileo yelling about a new star appearing in the sky, and the fact that the video you caught of the verse was compromised. We now jump to a few hours later. What's happening is that a lot of hermits are in the main observatory, watching on a video, like there's a video projector in the back projecting on the screen things that happened in the verse. And at some point, during the attention ceases to be on Nicholas Flamel and moves to some other thing. And Selenia Murray, which is doing a commentary on the images the Gemini Observatory has captured, says, and we know for certain that this verse was rewritten by people from our time period because one of them did something that couldn't have been possible in the 15th century. And it zooms in on the body that Oliver was in, Jean Flamel, which was Nicholas's brother, is like doing something, the thing that we talked about that you would do in verses. And it's caught on camera. Can you describe it to us?
There's a small blue card sticking out of a breast pocket, and you can just see the edge of a yellow letter, I guess part of an R.
Do we see your character like putting it in his pocket?
It's a little sneaky, but you can see it.
And on the card is the name of
Video Store Blockbuster.
Okay. It's a Blockbuster card.
I'm so proud.
Which you took.
That's fucking hilarious. Oh my god.
So much for being stealthy and not revealing your identity, guys.
Not from the 15th century, but ain't too modern either.
It's modern.
Oh wait, no, we're in the
time,
2000s. Never mind, that is... Yeah,
Yep.
I keep forgetting we're not, like, current. I was like, ooh, you really dated yourself. Then I'm like, wait, no, we are entirely dated.
Okay, so Selena Murray says, we don't know if this was aimed specifically to counter our project to find Neo Hermes, or if this was a coincidence. But we have to assume that nothing that is in the verse is authentic, and so all of the information we took time to gather here is useless. But I am putting the Jackal in charge of finding out who caused this, and we will resolve this before we can and we will resolve this in the hopes that it will not interfere anymore with our observations of the night sky. Everyone, please cooperate with the Jackal on his attempt to resolve the situation as quickly as possible. And please, we have to resolve this quickly. I don't want to look bad in front of Galileo and the other masters ever again. Now, before we all get back to work, I would like us to say a quick prayer. And all of the Hermes around you lower their heads and follow her and repeat whatever Selena Murray is saying. Praise Orpheus, the keeper of knowledge.
Praise Orpheus, the keeper of knowledge. Keeper of knowledge.
Obey the elders of your table, the keepers of wisdom.
Obey the elders of your table, the keeper of wisdom.
So,
respect your master, the keeper of secrets.
Respect your master, the keeper of secrets.
That's the credo of the cult of Orpheus, which is a sort of it's a sort of religion within the Hermes. And and once Selena is done, she said, "All right, everyone, back to work." Oliver, you are taken to the side by the Jackal. What are the other two? What are you going to do right now? What are Philip and Stefan going to do?
Well, I want to observe Galileo. I have some small doubts about him. He was spreading the knowledge in his youth and real life, so I'm wondering why is he now against the spread of knowledge. So I will just have a small talk with him, ask him about time when he was the famous scientist and what drew him towards sky and observing the sky and stuff like that.
So Galileo has taken over the body of another Hermes today. It's not Selena, because Selena was making the speech. He doesn't come very often, so this is a nice opportunity for you. You find him to the side, and he is talking with Selena, saying and you arrive in the middle of the conversation when he's saying, very disappointed, my superiors are going to rethink your allowing you into the table of mist until this matter is resolved. And he stops talking as soon as you're within earshot, and Selena says, "Yes, what can I do for you?"
Well, I don't want to interrupt anything if it's important. I was just admiring the historical figure that we can talk to. So.
Galileo smiles at this and says, "Oh, it's very nice to see a fan." And Selena says, "Mr. Gallieni, this is Stefan Lisowski. He is he's an alchemist here. He helped work on the silver coating of the telescope to give it its mystical properties." And Galileo he extends his hand, not to shake yours, just as if he's letting you kiss it.
Does he have any kind of rings of power on his hand, or just bare fingers?
He's wearing the clothing of the person that he,
okay.
That he inhabits. So, currently he's wearing a miniskirt and a scientist blouse.
I will ask his hand. Yeah, I still admire him, even if he Hermes for now. I will just take a small chat with him about his first observations and using a telescope. And I will ask him, how come that you give the population of man such a great knowledge willingly? And it was a great gift for humanity, what you have done, showing that the Earth is spinning. And
well, here's the thing. It was all really difficult. I had to find a way to prove to everyone. I had to confuse everyone as to the reality of the Great Book, because when people look at space, they now thanks to my observations, they think they see gas giants thousands of miles away instead of the verses. It was really difficult, and I had to make everyone believe that the Earth wasn't at the center of the universe with everything turning around, and that was pretty difficult. But because there are some satellites around some planets in the solar system that revolve around them, I managed to convince everyone. The only reason my work was underappreciated was because of the Protestant movement, who was competing with the church on who could hate science more. And because I called the Pope an idiot in my book. You've read my book, yes?
yeah, we all did it. Homework.
Good. I am glad that the Hermes of nowadays are still reading my work. Yes, well, when the Pope ordered me to make a book that presented both sides of the argument, heliocentrism and geocentrism, the idea is that either the Sun or the Earth were at the center of the solar system, I wrote all of his arguments from the point of view of Simplicius, which means simpleton in my language. It was a real laugh until the Pope consigned me to my home for life. And that is why you should always speak truth to power. Now get back to work, you lazy worms. Back in my day, we didn't have coffee breaks and we knew what it meant to work hard.
I will nod my head. And
I guess you should never meet your heroes in real life.
Yeah.
By the way, this is historically accurate. Galileo was commissioned by the Pope to write,
that's right.
and he presented all of the Pope's arguments from a character called Simplicius, the simpleton.
Oh my
On
god.
purpose. It was his own damn fault. He was on house arrest for the rest of his life.
Yeah. And he was waiting for his final hour to say, it actually spinning. It is actually spinning. Or
What is Philip doing?
He wouldn't be doing anything directly engaging with other people right now. I think he would actually be after everything that happened, I think he would go to his private quarters in the observatory and just take some time to mull over everything that happened, take some notes on things that went down for posterity, and I think just, take a moment to reflect on everything that went down and process.
I think it's in that moment of reflection that you realize that there's been a shift inside of you when you rewrote the verse into the verse of light. And that's what we talked about between the game. You now have one point of your darkness karma pool that is transformed into a point of your light karma pool. And by the way, guys, this is going to happen every time that somebody rewrites a verse. So now, Theo, you're not balanced anymore. You're unbalanced towards the light because of the rewriting.
I didn't think it happened that soon.
Your character realizes this, and you realize that also in the night sky there's a slight shift towards the light because there's like a new star thanks to your efforts. Does your character do something in like? How does your character react to that?
It's a moment of relief but also like just holy shit, what have I gotten myself into? Like everything went well, but now I'm like, if I didn't think I was in it before, now I'm in it. So yeah, it's like half celebration, half crisis.
Gotcha. Okay, so we shift back to Oliver and the Jackal, who are walking together through the corridors of the observatory, and the Jackal says, Selena and Galileo aren't realizing this because they're fools, but rewritings don't happen very often. There's been one or two in history. With somebody tried to counter our efforts to find Neo Hermes, and it probably came from a leak within here. We have to find who did this. Any ideas?
Out of character, I forget. Have I told the Jackal that I didn't get anywhere with finding who planted the bugs?
You have purposely failed to report on this up until now.
Okay, well, I'll mention that the bugs I found, I'm having a lot of trouble tracing who bought them. I know it was someone on the island, but apart from that, I haven't been able to find an actual name. I will not mention the strange cable I unplugged.
And is there any way we could trace it some more?
You'd have to go probably canvass the stores, see who bought them, what serial number lines up with what name. I haven't been able to find it on the internet.
All right. I will keep this as an idea, but I've got a better one. If this was caused by someone who has an Archon or a Diva, then those people are immune to prophecy. Divination powers can't work on them for some reason, but divination powers can't work on us either. The presence of an Archon or a Diva just muddies the water for prophecy, but that doesn't mean that we can't use powers of prophecy to find to find information. You reach the Jackal's desk, where he has his work as head of security for the Gemini Observatory. And in the privacy of this place, he locks the door and he tells you what he's about to do. He is about to use a verse called Recruit Her. Here's how it works. Name a problem you're trying to solve. You learn the name of a person with useful knowledge or skill that could help you solve the problem. Target is not obligated to cooperate. And so he says, the will of heavens is made known to you. 'Tis impossible to interpret other than to set out on a quest for the Virgin to recruit her and her many skills. And then he says the name Kaua Halakiko. He writes it down, and he says, all right, that sounds like a Hawaiian name. He hands you the piece of paper, and he says, find out who this person is. We're going to interrogate them, and they will lead us to whoever did this.
I'll get right on it, boss.
What do you do after that?
Leave. Because this is very bad.
By the way, I gave you the list of verses so that you would know, so that you would be aware of some of the powers that can be used against you in this game. And I've been waiting to use this one against you guys for a long time.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if it was a dark verse, but
no, it's a light verse.
Yeah, I kind of figured it would be.
Prophecies are light verse because it's about revealing things that are hidden, and hiding yourself is more darkness.
Well, right now it seems pretty dark.
So, What does Oliver do after that?
Goes finds the other two.
Okay.
This is very, 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 very bad.
You're now all together, and Oliver has just finished explaining the situation to you.
I trust I don't have to
Emphasize?
yeah, that one. How bad this situation is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that our friend has met these challenges before, but I suggest we notify him before so he can be aware. I'm sure the Hermes cult or group already tried to influence him or ask him about, so I think he will manage to make a story, but I suggest we find him and notify him that Jackal will try to interrogate him or ask him questions regarding the rewriting.
One of you should probably tell him, and we need to figure this out quickly, because I definitely cannot keep this from the Jackal for all that long.
Mm.
Do I know where is he sitting in front of the observatory in the entrance, or he's at home? Palakiko.
He was he was working during the entire time you were writing, finding pretexts to stay around to make sure everything was all right, and he is he's still I guess he's taking out the trash when you go and when you find him.
Well, I will not stay long with him. I will just try to pass him and say, Jackal has an eye on you. Just be careful, so he will not get surprised. Or just that, I don't want them to see me standing there and talking to him. Like just a quick note by passing him.
So Kaua says, "Got it, thank you." And he just before like you go, he asks you, "Should I leave, or am I safe to keep my to like stay at the job?"
Well, we prefer it if you are stay.
Okay.
You're a great ally to us. So.
I'll manage. Don't worry, I'll keep things quiet.
If you want, you can meet me at my garden afterwards or something.
He can't. He's not.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Just gotta rub it in, don't you?
What are your characters going to do after that?
Oliver's trying to think of a way to subtly create an exit strategy for Palakiko,
Mm-hmm.
just in case he needs to leave very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because we want to have something in case of that, but also something that doesn't raise suspicion when people find out that when he leaves.
It's so perfect that you just created a verse to teleport someone.
True. You're so right.
You are told, since you were in the vault room for the entire time, that you've worked enough. That like you were working the entire time that the verse was happening. So you are told by your superiors, so, Professor Murray, for example, that if you need to take a rest, you can go ahead. We need you at full strength tomorrow to resolve this issue.
One question though: do we know any other mean except this observatory and the twin observatory that you can enter this verse?
You don't need the observatory to enter a verse. You just need to know the verse and be specialized in it.
Okay, so it can happen from anywhere. It doesn't have. Okay.
Yes. Which means it might be possible for you to make it look like somebody else did it.
Yeah.
So how do we want to go about this? God. I mean, I think for now we just have to have backup plans. We don't have to do anything like immediately.
going to assume that Eric hasn't told us he told his assistant about all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, nothing we can do there. Basically, is just make sure Palakiko doesn't tell anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that his relation with Apollo was a friendly one and a strong one, so I think he will try to avoid. We need to reroute the Jackal somehow
Yeah.
from us and from the observatory. So I'm not sure if we can find out who is also researching Flamel and who might have both verses known to him.
Alright, so kind of a crazy idea, but what if we make Palakiko not Palakiko? Like, give him a different name and give his name to some random person on the street.
You have a way of doing this effectively?
But that will
Computers.
remove him forever and make him like main suspect.
Yeah. Not to mention that'd be putting
Yeah.
a random person at risk, which wouldn't
Yeah.
be completely ideal. Nonetheless, it's impressive.
Yeah,
Fine,
it's good
hardened
for if
criminal.
we need to hide him, yeah.
We'll find a
But
hardened criminal and do it to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
that verse that Jackal was reciting, it will just point to Palakiko as he has some knowledge, but it doesn't. I'm not sure if that has to be like main knowledge of.
It has to be useful knowledge or useful
Useful.
skill. It's
So we can still somehow fake this and make it false. He
basically
can know, like, for example, he can know. I'm not sure.
Basically, the verse points you to a useful person who might be able to help you in your quest. You guys know that Kaua would be helpful because Kaua is a person without an Archon and Diva who knows everything that just happened. But
Yeah.
it might be able to. You might be able to change that aspect.
Yeah. Well, he may lie about some, I don't know, previous, I don't know. He can't say anything about us or Apollo. Everything else, he can share the knowledge, I think. The main thing is he don't point at us.
Does anyone have any memory erasing verses?
I haven't created any of these yet, but it's on my to-do list. There is one memory erasing power in this game, and it's not a verse.
Interesting.
Well, his knowledge, useful knowledge, can be that he, I don't know, knows about some group of people in France actually that are following Flamel's work, and they want. But of course, it is a lie.
I know. I feel if there's a way we could take the Jackal off our tail, but not put other people at risk, like somehow
Yeah, that
make
is
the
the reason
accusation
why.
seem like falsehood.
Yeah,
Or,
that is the reason why I don't want to hide Kahua, because that will point him as someone who is hiding because he knows something.
Exactly. Yeah, like we have to
important,
keep him
yeah.
here because if he suddenly disappears, that'll be suspicious
Yeah.
as all hell.
Yeah.
I think what Oliver was suggesting was to have Kaua's name changed within the observatory, and to have and to give his name to somebody else. But then he wouldn't have to leave. He would just have to keep going his life with a different.
But he is known to the observatory. He is a doorman, and people know him. Yeah.
The head of
That's-
security didn't know who he was. I don't think the average person is going to associate his name with anything.
Like I said, the only
okay.
downside to this is whoever we give his name to is gonna be heavily
In trouble.
suspected. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kawa's skill, like Kawa is his archetype is Scorpio. His main skill, the reason why he's been useful to protect Ascension is that he is unremarkable.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh, buddy.
in the sense that he.
So it's a skill. You can learn that. Yeah.
It's called stealth. It's not being noticed.
Holy shit. I mean,
Mm,
that's
so-
so right.
People don't notice the janitor.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. God, that's so goddamn clever.
Hi everyone, and thank you for watching this video. If you want to be a part of this story, we are currently looking for more players and game masters to play new games in this setting and on this channel. You can also be a part of the story by having your face added to the cast of characters. I draw all of the images for this game, and you can commission me to make you into an NPC. If you like the style and you want a drawing like that of yourself, or if you want to contribute to the project, you can contact me through the links in the description. Finally, if you want to keep up with all of the adventures on this channel, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so you can get a notification each time we upload the next episode of this story. And it would be very nice of you to like and share the video to help this channel grow. Have a nice day, everyone.